morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to the Bourse Report. Well, today we're taking a look at financial results from the powerhouse of the powerhouse sector of the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. We're speaking, of course, about the banking sector, and two of our locally grown and certainly large and growing giants in the banking sector. We're talking, of course, about Republic Financial Holdings Limited as well as First Citizens Financial Group, or let's just call them First for the time being. Now, both groups would have reported improved earnings. Let's take a look at what that looks like and what investors could expect in the coming months ahead. Turning firstly to RFHL, well, for that half-year period ended March 2024, the group would have reported earnings per share of $6.13, a 27.4% increase from the $4.81 recorded in the prior comparable period. Now, driving that improvement in earnings was a fairly impressive increase in net interest income generated, 10.9% odd increase, in fact, from $2.25 billion to just over $2.5 billion. Operating income overall up a more modest 4.2% from $3.33 billion to just about $3.47 billion. Some declines in other income. Overall profit or net profit attributable to equity holders increasing that 27.3% odd from $787 million for the prior comparable period to just over the $1 billion mark. So fairly significant improvement in terms of RFHL's earnings generation. When we see visually what's driving that earnings generation, of course, we mentioned that almost 11% increase, excuse me, in net interest income from $2.256 billion to $2.5 billion in the fiscal half of 2024. Other income, however, slipped just about 9.8% from $1.077 billion to $971 million. Overall, of course, that 4.2% increase in operating income, continuing what has been a very positive trend in terms of operating income generation for RFHL for the past few comparable periods. Now, when we take a look at profit before tax by geographical segment, we can also see that there were major improvements across most segments, with the exception of the Cayman Islands as well as the Eastern Caribbean. The Eastern Caribbean in that bluish segment, down just about 1.5% from $140 million in PBT in the fiscal half of 2023 to $138 million. Cayman Islands, the Cayman Islands segment slipped just under 10% from $259 million at PBT or profit before tax to $235 million overall. Ghana notably swinging from a loss in that fiscal half of 2023 of $28 million in that purple segment to a profit of $78 million in the fiscal half 2024. $78 million, again, as mentioned, with PBT overall increasing from $1.21 billion to just under that $1.5 billion mark, $1.46 billion to be precise. So at a price of just under $118, RFHL is trading at a price-to-earnings ratio of a fairly attractive 9.8 times compared to the banking sector average of 12.1 times. Now, it's important to note also that the banking sector average has moderated significantly over the past 2 years or so, and valuations seem to be very, very attractive at this particular point in time, given the relative stability and strength and importance of the banking sector. Now, when you take a look at the dividend yield of RFHL, it is also trading well above that sector average, 4.5% be on offer to equity investors with reasonably good growth prospects compared to the banking sector average of 4.1%. So with that higher operating income in mind, continued earnings growth, what in Bourse's view is relatively attractive valuations, as well as that geographical diversification, notwithstanding the fairly dominant contribution of Trinidad and Tobago to RFHL's overall profit before tax, Bourse is going to maintain an overweight rating on RFHL for the time being. Turning very quickly to FCGFH, or First, well, the group would have reported an earnings per share figure of $1.73, a 19.3% increase from that $1.45 in the fiscal half of 2023. Net interest income was impressively up 16.1% from $867 million to just over the $1 billion mark. Total net revenues increasing in double digits as well, from 14.5% or some 14.5% from $1.17 billion to $1.34 billion, with profit after taxes improving that 19.6% from $364.3 million to just under $456 million. So certainly making good reading for FCGF or First investors or First shareholders When we take a look at police profit before tax by segment, some notable improvements. Retail and corporate banking improving from 484 odd million to 523 million over the comparable periods, an 8% odd increase. Trustee and asset management, PBT also increasing some 16% from 25 to 29 million. And the treasury and investment banking having some moderation with some fairly significant one-off gains in the prior comparable period, slipping from 396 to 290 million, a 25 to 26 odd % decrease. But again, fiscal 2023 or that half year 2020 impacted by some season one-off gains. So comparing First Citizens in that green segment to the overall banking sector average, we can see that it is slightly above that sector average of 12.1 times, trading at a 14.2 times earning. However, from a dividend perspective, it is one of the more generous dividend-yielding banking stocks on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange banking sector with a 4.5% dividend yield as well, comparable to Republic Financial Holdings as well as First Caribbean International, CIBC First Caribbean at 4.8%. So definitely some value on offer for investors who are looking for income generating stocks in FCGFH. So as mentioned, at that price of $47.84, First is trading at that 14.2 times multiple and offering that 4.5% dividend yield, but slightly above that banking sector average in terms of valuations for the time being. So with increased net interest income in mind, relatively fair valuation from a price to earnings multiple perspective, but that attractive dividend yield Bourse is going to maintain a market rate rating on First for the time being, of course, with one eye on a potential upgrade if this earnings trajectory and trend does continue. But that's it for this week's edition. For more information, you can give us a call at 226-8773 or to Bourse email us at invest@Bourse Financial, or you can check out our website, bourseinvestment.com, where all of our research is absolutely free, and catch this article in today's business section of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper. So until next time, keep safe, happy investing, and we'll see you again on the Bourse Report.